Testing 1, 2. All right, we are live. What's going on, guys? Donnie Rouse here, and today we are going to talk about divine destiny. And specifically, I'm going to tell you a story about a friend of mine who had gotten turned away from a job and where he initially was and how we got him to the other side, meaning feeling good about this rejection. You're like, how could anybody feel good about rejection? But if it's not aligned for you, then actually what that rejection does, and it actually gives you some contrast and gives you some clarity. So let me ask you, have you ever felt rejected for something that you didn't even want? Why did you feel rejected? Like, what was the meaning you were giving this experience in your life? Before I go into the story I was going to tell you, I'll tell you a story about a friend of mine. I remember I was visiting her in California, and she was telling me a story about she was talking to this guy whom she was not even interested in. And one day they were talking on the phone, and he said, "Hey, you know what? This is just not going to work. I don't think we should talk anymore. I think we should. This is it. It's the end." And she was telling me she started crying on the phone, and she's like, "You're breaking up with me?" And in her mind, she was laughing at it because she's like, we're not even dating. I don't even like you. But yet she was crying and she was feeling like she had been rejected from this person. Let me tell you a different story. So I was talking with one of my friends. He was telling me he had gone on an interview for a job. And when I spoke with him on the phone today, he would tell me that he just got turned down. Initially, he had said, declined, but I was like, well, you don't really decline. You don't get the job. Like if you were offered the job, then you would decline it, right? So just a change of words. And he was telling me about that and how he was kind of feeling kind of lousy. And I said, well, all right, well, tell me, like, what was it about the job you liked? He's like, to be honest with you, this job was just kind of like an in-between thing. I knew I didn't want to stay there for the rest of my life. It was just something that would, that I could work to start to put some money away. And then when he told me that, and then he started going into all the reasons why he didn't want it. Like he would have had to have been by his computer literally all day, 5 days a week, which wouldn't give him the human connection that he craved. And also, he just wasn't passionate about the work. And then we started talking about passion. I was like, well, all right, well, what do you find passionate? He said, well, I thought about volunteering. There's this homeless shelter, and I thought about volunteering my time there. He's like, I currently do it, and I do it for free. I don't get paid anything. And so I thought about going there. And then he was telling me that he had spoken to the person who manages the facility. He goes, yes, if you want, there are job opportunities here. And I looking from what was behind the words, I knew he liked videography because I had spoken to him when we were traveling, and so I know he's good at it. And then I asked him, I said, well, what are you looking for? He's like, he was looking for purpose. He was looking to get meaning. And that's when I said, all right, well, you don't create meaning. I mean, you don't get meaning from doing something. You create meaning. Meaning, like, I gave him the example from my own life and how everything that I did, there had been times where I was searching for meaning, but it was kind of stupid because it was almost like not seeing what was the writing that was right in front of my face. But when I looked back on all the things I had done, from waiting tables at a restaurant to cycling when I was teaching spin, to my coffee company, to One Life, there has been a theme around what I'm doing, and it's all about getting people in touch with their One Life, to get people to experience more, to be more present, to enjoy. Right? That was a central theme. And when I saw that, I told him, well, this is not something that like I was looking. I wasn't looking for the job to give me this. Like, this was something I had to choose to pursue. The meaning and the purpose is what I created. It wasn't something external coming to grab me. And when I said this, he was like, well, you know what? Yeah, I get it. Wow. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And then I said, well, so to get him out of like that shitty feeling that he was going, that whole ditch he was about to like dig himself, I said, well, tell me, we've been just talking for 5 minutes, and you, from this experience and from you telling me why you were happy you didn't get the job, you actually just gave me all the things that you want in a career. He's like, I want to be more around more people. I want more variety. I want to travel to different places. I just need more, I want some serenity. I want to spend less time in the world of social media, being my computer, but have a balanced time where I could be out in the world, detached from everything. I was like, well, awesome. That's great. Well, all of this that you're telling me right now was the result of you telling me why you did not want the job you just got turned away from. And he's like, holy shit. Wow. Yeah, I guess you're right. And it was because of this contrast. It was because of him literally poking and just asking some questions for him to realize that all the stuff that he was trying to avoid by getting turned away from this job that he did not want was actually giving him the direction to the thing he wants. And as a result, he's probably going to book a trip to come visit me in Miami. But I want to touch upon that. So because one, just for the pure purpose that whenever you get something, whenever there's something you don't want, it automatically points you to what you do want. But it's just, you have to ask those questions. You have to take the time, right? All the stuff I'm talking about on my podcast, all the stuff in the One Life Blueprint, it's simple, right? You don't have to, you don't need to pay anybody money in order to get the lessons here. But when you do pay for a coach, when you do subscribe to a course, what are you doing? You're paying for the accountability. You're paying someone to literally guide you by the hand. It's simple work, but it takes work, right? The hard part comes from taking the time to carve out for yourself, to give it to yourself and say, okay, well, what is it that I want for my life? When you don't doing that, life will come in. Someone else with another plan for your life is going to come in, and they're going to swoop you off somewhere else until you hit that threshold where you're like, frig this, no more. And then hopefully or sometimes some people need the other extra bop on the head, but sometimes that might be enough. That one experience will be enough to say change and be like, you know what? I don't care how much time I have to do this, what I think time is going to take away from my day. This is the direction I need to put the time here because I want to create the life that I'm passionate about, that I want to live. I can't continue going this direction anymore. So the lessons I want you to take from the story is, one is just contrast, right? So realizing that what you don't want is also pointing you to what you do want. The second thing is realizing when you're talking about fulfillment and work and purpose, right? Purpose is something that's intrinsic. Purpose is something you create. Now, that's different from saying work that you find fulfilling and enjoy, right? If you're doing work that you freaking hate, by all means, do something else. I mean, you can fulfill that purpose in many, many ways. You don't have to do stuff that's going to make you miserable just for the sake of doing a purpose. You can find something, but find work that you enjoy doing and create the purpose around it. So I hope this in some way maybe it inspired you to quit the job and say, you know what, screw this shit. I'm going out on my own. I'm doing my own thing, something that gives me more meaning. Or maybe it just ignites you and you're like, you know what, I love the work I do. But I wasn't aligning it with a purpose. I wasn't saying like, wow, this, and the recommendation I give my friend, I was like, well, listen, right now you're doing freelance. Like, how awesome would it be if it be your thing? Like, maybe your passion is environmental, to know that you're taking care of the earth. What if you only worked with companies who reduce their carbon footprint, who were more, focused on protecting the environment? Like, how would that work, right? Well, one, you would be fulfilling your purpose. Two, you niche down. Now, all of a sudden, like, you know exactly who you're going for. And not only that, the companies that you want to work for, knowing that you are focused only on this niche of people who are environmentally conscious. Now, all of a sudden, they want to work with you because your vision's aligned. And he's like, oh, wow, yeah, I totally see it. And it could be as simple or as complicated as you want to make it. So that is, I hope this in some way inspires you to maybe create some, define the purpose for the work you're doing, or get out of the freaking job altogether and find something more fulfilling, at least work that you enjoy at the very least, right? Because otherwise you spend most of your life in your career doing work. Do something you love, right? Do something that lights you up. It's not to say anything's perfect. I am living proof of that because the work that I do, like, it requires, having my own business requires me to grow in so many ways that I never thought imaginable. It requires me to step into discomfort. right? It's not always easy. I don't always do it, but I know that I'm never going to give up. And as a result of not giving up, I know eventually I'll find my way. I may zigzag around a little bit, but I'm going to do it. So find the purpose, do work you love. Life is too short to do otherwise. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please share this with 5 people whom you feel could benefit from this. I don't promote my podcast. I don't do anything else. Everything comes from word of mouth. So if you enjoyed this, if you found some value, give the value to someone else. Share this with 5 people. If you have any questions or comments, you could give them to me via my website at donnyraus.com, www.donnyraus.com. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found some value. I hope this gave you just some different questions to ask yourself. So this way you can start creating a life that is aligned with your vision, a life that's aligned with your values, a life that's going to give you the emotions that you want to feel. As always, remember, guys, you only get one life. Live fully, live passionately, and most of all, live now. God bless you guys, and I will see you again next week.